Well, hello there, beloved Tenno, and welcome to the Tennocon 2025 recap. I'm going to go over the highlights for you, and there were some awesome announcements. Oh my goodness, so there's going to be spoilers, but before I do, please drop me a like, comment and or sub, and I will be extremely grateful. Now, let's get into it. Now, I don't know if you know this about Warframe, but it's around 12 to 13 years old. However, Tennocon is only 10 years old, which is why they're talking about this 10-year anniversary, 10-year celebration. And it started off strong by Reb exiting a fridge. They've got a whole joke going on about fridge frame. I believe it's to do with the fact that the game is coming to all of these different places where we can play, like the different platforms like iOS and soon to be Android. And, you know, before we know it, we'll be able to play Warframe on our smart fridges. Anyway, she came out clutching a pool noodle, but more on that in a moment. And they also support a lot of charities, Warframe and DE, and they had our beloved James Conlon on stage with his parents. He is the voice of Ollie from the 1999 content, a voice actor who had his wish come true via the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and it was just awesome. And he is such a cool dude, and his parents were just so incredibly grateful for the chance that he got to become a voice actor. They also mentioned that Lotus Alert's missions would be up after Tennocon, which are running now. There are lots of goodies to be had from those, and the Dog Days expansion. That's right, we'll now be able to mash the enemies over the head with pool noodle weapons as well as the lob blobs, and there will be new Dog Days glyphs available. And next up, a Valkyr Heirloom teaser. And this will be available for cash and potentially plat on the 21st of July. And I think the Rhino Heirloom will still be around after the 31st of July. You just won't be able to buy it with real life currency, only with platinum in the game. Next up, they announced the next Prime, which should be due to be released in August, and that is Caliban. And he's getting some new skins for his summons as well. We're getting a Renato Prime, but we're also getting a new weapon in the form of a sentient sniper rifle called the Vidaria, and that looks awesome. All very sentient themed, which is very fitting with the demo they played, which I will talk about a little bit at the end. But yeah, look out for Caliban Prime coming in August. And then they took us through all the art and the concepts of the game. It was quite a long segment. There you see the creative Flame actually dressed up as Temple. It's such a good cosplay. And then they showed us the mocap footage of a lot of the stuff they do behind the scenes to get the animation. And this that you see on the screen is a direct teaser. This was showing us Excalibur Prime from the teaser trailers and beyond. You know, there we just about saw that, and then he picks up his sword, and we're going to see that later. Now, I did actually do the whole demo in a separate video if you'd like to go and watch the whole thing. It was just epic, and we're going to talk about it in a bit. And then they had a whole sound segment, so all the work that goes into Warframe to make the ambience, the sound effects, the voiceovers, the actors, and Alpha, who plays Aoi, the voice actress, was just the cutest person on the planet. She's so adorable. And there's one thing we can take from these sections that we see of Tennocon behind the scenes, and that is just so much work goes into making this game. For the smallest bit of a quest or animation or the ambience that we hear in our headsets, everything must be worked on by a team of passionate people, only for us to just blaze past in the game in 2 seconds. But I'm so glad they mentioned Kume, and they went over how they made some of her sound effects. They went over some of the behind the scenes stuff, and even like how to make a helicopter sound in the game, and it was really interesting. And then they took us to a deep dive of the history and lore of Warframe. Why? Because they keep asking us during Tennocon, what do you remember, Tenno? And this dude here with the ponytail, that's Adrian Bott. He is British. He mentioned Red Dwarf. Shout out Red Dwarf. I got so excited. And when he talked about the game and the lore, you could see the passion in him. And to the right there, that's the actress, the voice actress that plays the beloved Eleanor. And we got a little treat from her because they gave us some behind the scenes clips that they never used in the game for voice actors, and it was so good. Now I'm just going to play you her clip, and then we're going to talk about what they actually mentioned in here that was all the juicy teasers leading up to the Tenno Live that's coming up shortly.
Balls are itching. You have to keep the gun on me, but dear God, it's like spiders are crawling all over them. Jesus. It's the infestation. It's gotta be. No good. You're gonna have to scratch.
Now, before we get to the really juicy stuff, they did in this lore kind of section mention Hunhao. They mentioned Pazul. They mentioned the origin system. Here you're seeing text on the screen for the chitty chats they created for all the Hex members and the conversations that the voice actors would be reading out. It was a huge amount of text. It's fascinating. And they also mentioned here that there's going to be 3 new proto frames, 2 of which we were introduced to, which I shall show you shortly, because it was very much linked to a relay occurrence instance that happened during the demo being played. It was amazing. And they also announced 2 new Warframes. One was just a pure teaser and one actually had more detail to it. Again, I'm going to show you ever so shortly, but I just want to show you all the other things that they mentioned briefly before we get to the really juicy stuff. They also mentioned that Warframe is coming to Android in a closed beta format very soon, I think in the fall potentially. And Ben turned up in the fridge, you know, because he couldn't get there, and also announced that Warframe will be coming to a tabletop RPG called Starfinder, which is why they were rolling dice. And somebody in my Discord explained to me what Starfinder is. I apologise, I didn't know. But they seem pretty stoked about it, and it does seem pretty cool to have your little Warframe characters maybe in a tabletop RPG. And they also mentioned they're going on a Tenno VIP tour starting in London, England. They're going to Cologne, they're going to Tokyo, they're going to Calgary. And if you live locally to those areas, you can hopefully get some tickets and go and say hello to them. And just before we get to the really juicy stuff, they mentioned here that we're having a Lavos Deluxe skin released at some point in the future, probably by the autumn/fall. We're getting an Oberon rework, which everybody's very happy about when Pablo announced it. And I literally just did an Oberon King of the Fairies video. Go and check it out if you want to update yourself on him. And we are also having a new quest called The Teacher, and this is going to solidify our lore and our story with Teshin, but also finally teach us how to mod in game, because there's literally nothing in the game to tell us how to mod. We just have to figure it out ourselves and use Overframe. And they also here mentioned there's 2 new Warframes coming. They've already teased us with the one beginning with you, which I'll show you shortly, but the 60-second Warframe, they haven't really given us any information apart from that he's going to be a fun guy, which we all took to mean something to do with mushrooms. And I'm thinking like zombie apocalypse mushrooms here, like minions, you know, possessed by mushroom dust. And so even though they gave us the 60-second Warframe being a fun guy, they didn't give us any more details, but they did give us a lot more details about the 63rd Warframe being a devil-themed Warframe directly linked to 2 of the proto-frames that we're about to see. They announced there's going to be 3 new proto-frames, but they've only given us a teaser for the 2. And here they all are together.
Uriel, heretic of Zata, in banishment answer. Can the Orokin ever be forgiven?
Truths. A devil has come.
Soul and Lua, we will cleanse this follower.
So there you go. 2 new proto frames. There is a 3rd, but they didn't reveal them. And they are Father Leon Allard, who is Harrow, and Marie Leroux, who is Wisp. And they are directly linked somehow to the 63rd Warframe that's coming out after our 62nd Fungi one. And the 63rd one will be a devil-themed Warframe called Uriel. And I'm interested to see how it fits in. Now, they did say that it's kind of going to be like an Entrati side kind of quest that links some lore together. So, you know, let's watch out and see where that takes us, shall we? Exciting, though. They did also mention and show Soulframe demos, and mentioned that Soulframe is open on the weekend of Tennocon for people to join up for free, I believe, and get their envoy names and get playing with the game. There's going to be no more resets, but they've opened it up to the public, I think, and it kind of broke the servers. However, the pièce de résistance of the Tennocon and Tenno Live was obviously to show us the upcoming avenues that we're going to be going down in Warframe, and this is where we were right. We're heading to Tau, and I'm just going to show you the beginning of the demo. I have done a whole separate video with the whole entire demo in it if you want to go and watch the whole thing over again. It was epic, it was beautiful, and there are some other things coming along with it that they announced, so we'll talk about those briefly. Let's have a look at this intro. Oh man, I got tingles just from watching that first bit again. There's one thing do you know how to do, and that is make an epic cinematic with the music, the amount of work that goes into it. Honestly, it brought myself and my Discordians in some cases to tears near the end of this demo. It's so beautiful, and it's actually so sad as well at the same time, because it's giving us lore about the sentients and our relationship with them as the Tenno. We're going basically back to the past. We're going to the old peace before the old war, which we were never part of in game. We never partook in the old war, so maybe they're gonna bring us up to speed with all of that. And it's a time before the Tenno and the sentients were enemies. We were working together to terraform Tau before it all went terribly wrong with Balas and Hunhao and Pragasa and the sentients, and we were friends. The sentients and the Tenno were friends. Oh my goodness, my heart. Anyway, during this whole entire demo, they opened up a Tenno live relay in the game, and during this demo, the vista was changing at the the relay. The relay was actually sort of based outside Sol, which is our sun, which is the sun that the Pragasa ship was supposed to consume, devour, and eat to get Balas to the Tau system, not using a solar rail. It never happened. And when we go to the relay, we're on a sentient ship that's in pieces, it looks like, and we're looking at Sol. But these vistas that we see in the demo start to appear at the relay. Now, I don't know what I actually missed, because although I have two screens, I was recording the demo, the Tenno live stream, and I wasn't recording the relay. However, I did take some screenshots, and I did go and have a look, because my Discordians were yelling at me in the chat, like, look at the relay. And if you don't know, if you go to the relay, there are, I believe, at least one little thing to find. I won't spoil it entirely, I'm sure. You'll be able to run around the relay and have a look to find and pick up these little collectibles. Don't know if there's more than one. Now, during this demo, they kind of showed us other things that are coming. So the operator looked ever so slightly different, and they're doing an operator rework, which is amazing. They're bringing a new sort of Orokin skin as well to the Tenno. Oh my god, I can't wait. They also mentioned that they're re-releasing wall running. Everybody got very excited. I don't remember wall running. I'm not an old enough Tenno to remember it, so I'm guessing it was in the game, but it was glitchy, so they got rid of it. But they're bringing it back, y'all, so we're going to be wall running. The other thing they mentioned was, I think it's called Tauron, and it's expansion to our focus schools. I'm guessing it's like a bit like an Archon shard, where you're adding on extra goodies to your abilities on your focus school, because they can be a bit limited. And they showed us a little sneak peek of that here. So they asked us what we remember. They're telling us we're going to the past. We're going to the old piece. That's the name of the quest that this will be part of. And as you can see, this is Excalibur. I don't think we're getting an Excalibur Prime in the game. They keep teasing us with it, but I think we're just going to play as him, like we did with the Stalker and the Jade quest. And look at the face of the sentient that we're taking on, and we make a sort of fatal error here. This sentient face reminds me so much of the Vonvalists that wander the plains of Eidolon at night, that help the actual Eidolon, which, if you don't know the lore of the Eidolons and the Vonvalists, they are all sentients and they're roaming because they're lost, because Gara took them down many moons ago, probably before or during the Old War. I can't remember the actual lore. I did a video on Gara, go and check it out. And here we see that we made an error and we were friends with the sentients. Maybe this turned the tide, maybe this turned the tables when they realized if they allow us to continue here, we're just going to continue in the same vein as we did in the Origin system. And maybe this is where the Old War came in, but we know we made a mistake. Oh my goodness, I was devastated watching this. It really clutched me by my feels and I couldn't let go, and I had a massive lump in my throat, as did my Discordians. And I have to say really quickly, my Discordians made this viewing pleasure even more pleasurable. The relay experience, people were taking screenshots and showing us. We have a spoiler channel on my Discord. The link is on my YouTube channel. Go and join it. You're more than welcome. It's not just Warframe. We talk about all sorts of things over there. Warframe being one of the main things, obviously. But it was so enjoyable to share the experience with people that just feel as passionately about it as you do and don't feel embarrassed or ashamed of that. Gaming is a beautiful and amazing world. No matter which game you play and which genres you're into, Warframe will always have a special place in my heart. Those devs, they really do care. And it's bringing a lump to my throat just talking about it. Watching Pablo's glee when we all cheered for the Oberon rework, which we've all been patiently waiting for, and the proto-frames that are coming, and the lore, and the new Warframes, the new skins, the new everything. And here you see Warframe, the old piece. That's coming. It says 2025, but I think Tau will be coming in 2026. So in the meantime, we have other things coming to us, like a new Prime, a new weapon, the sniper rifle, as I mentioned, new skins, Oberon reworks, and the dog days. There's just so much coming in this game. And as they said, part of it is really, the main part of it is because of the community of Warframe and how opening and welcome and lovely the community is generally. And I've been in this game, Warframe, for quite a while, and I have to agree 100%, the community is what makes this game so pleasurable to play. Come and join my Discord and you'll see for yourself. Everybody just wants to help. Everybody's there to cheer you on and celebrate with you and succeed. And as you can see, they're saying Tau is coming in 2026. So the old piece is coming in 2025, they say, but we'll see what happens to Tau. This is the future of Warframe. We're going to go back and see what we remember. And man, it blew me away. It brought a lump to my throat, as did the Soulframe demo. Anyway, my darlings, let me know what you think. I've probably missed a few things. Let me know how you feel about some of the things that are coming up. They're not making massive changes to the game or anything like that. They're just adding more stuff for us to play with. And I, for one, am really happy and cheerful about it. We love a bit of Lavos, so I'll be looking forward to his deluxe skin. Not sure about the proto frames, whether I'll purchase them, but I'll be very interested to see the lore when it comes to the Uriel Warframe, and I'm very interested to know what the 62nd Warframe is, the Fun Guy Warframe. Let's see where they take us with that. Anyway, in the meantime, thank you for joining me in this update, and I hope you've taken it all in, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you watched Tennocon yourself live, let me know how it made you feel. In the meantime, thank you so much for joining me. I really do hope to see you again in the next one, no matter what it may be. But in the meantime, you take care now and goodbye.